Good evening. I feel I ought to say that all you need to know is that Jane Franklin was Benjamin Franklin's sister. But what I want to say is that all you need to know is that Benjamin Franklin was Jane Franklin's brother. Her paper was made from rags, soaked and pulped and strained and dried. Her thread was made from flax, combed and spun and twisted and dyed. On a table, she laid down a sheet of foolscap and smoothed it with the palms of her hands. She creased it and folded it again. She pressed it open. With a needle made of steel, she stitched a seam. It made the slimmest of volumes, no thicker than a patch of burlap. Then she dipped the nub of a pen, slit from the feather of a bird, into a pot of ink boiled of oil mixed with soot. And on the first page, she wrote 3 words: Book of Ages. She turned the page. At the top of the next page, she began her chronicle, a book of dates. Edward Meekum, born December 1704. Jane Franklin, born on March 27, 1712. Edward Meekum married to Jane Franklin the 27th of July, 1727. The Book of Ages, her age. 15 years, 4 months. She married as a child. I hear you are grown a celebrated beauty, her brother had written to her just months before. Below the record of her marriage, she added another line. Josiah Meekum, their firstborn, Wednesday, June the 4th, 1729. She was 17. Her belly had swelled and burst, and then there were 2. The knots untied that made us one, the Boston poet Anne Bradstreet wrote about giving birth. What remains of a life? Remains means what remains of the body after death, but remains are also what remains of a person's body of work. Literary remains are unpublished papers, and remains can also mean descendants, the remains of the family line. Anne Bradstreet wrote about her children as her remains, my little babes, my dear remains. But her poems were her children too. Thou ill-formed offspring of my feeble brain, she called them. Bradstreet's poems were all that her children would one day have left of her. If chance to thine eyes shall bring this verse, she told them, kiss this paper. Josiah Meekum, their firstborn, Wednesday, June the 4th, 1729, Jane had written. And below, she added another line, and died May the 18th, 1730. Her firstborn, the child of her childhood, a nursling, died 2 weeks shy of his first birthday. She counted the days of his life. A dead child is a sight no more surprising than a broken pitcher, the Boston minister Cotton Mather preached in a sermon called Right Thoughts in Sad Hours. 1 in 4 children died before the age of 10. They were kept at home, wrapped in linen, dipped in melted wax, while a box of pine was built and painted black. At the tolling of a bell, pallbearers carried the coffin to the burying ground in silence. Puritans banned prayers for the dead. There would be no words, nor, ministers warned, ought there to be tears. She washed him and kissed him and bundled him in linen and watched him being laid in the ground, the place marked with a cross made of sticks. She tried to have right thoughts. As best she could, she wept not, but she could not abide silence. The Book of Ages is a book of remembrance. She had no portraits of her children and no gravestones. Nothing remained of them except her memories and 4 sheets of foolscap stitched together. The remains of her remains. Kiss this paper. Thank you.